Hey everyone, what is going on? My name is MysticFox Live and welcome back to the channel. In today's Payday 3 video, we're going to be taking a look at the Payday 2 heists and discussing which ones I think are most likely to return in Payday 3 as classic heists. As a lot of you no doubt know, every single heist from the very first Payday game, Payday the Heist, is now present in Payday 2 on PC, and most of them are also available on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Obviously, with Payday 3, the same luxury will not be afforded as Payday 2 has way too many heists to just port them all over into Payday 3. So in this video, I put all the heists together into a big table, and I'm going to discuss which ones I think are more likely to come back, which ones are less likely, which ones will definitely come back, which ones definitely won't. This video is a follow-up to my last video last week talking about which characters I think will come back in Payday 3. If you've not seen that, a link is on screen now. Go give it a look if you're interested. But without any further ado, let's get right into this Payday 3 theorizing video, and let's start it off, as always, by rolling the intro. So, like I said in the intro, we're going to look at this big table and break down the heists I think are most likely and least likely to return in Payday 3. The only heists that aren't present in this table are the two tutorial heists, Flash Drive and Get the Coke. Reason being I'm not even accounting for those is because they're just not going to be in Payday 3. If Payday 3 has its own tutorial, it'll be unique to that game and it won't link to Payday 2's at all, so it's not even worth considering those. And the other anomaly you might notice in this list is also the other category at the bottom right of the table for Safe House Raid. I've left that in, I'm going to box this off right now immediately because I imagine it could be feasible that with whatever safe house we get in Payday 3, if we get one, that there might well be some kind of safe house raid mechanic. It won't be the same as this heist, but we could get something similar as well. So the first little thing I want to tick off here is that there'll be some kind of safe house raid, not the same one, but I imagine there'll be some kind of mission that is safe house based, so that's why I'm leaving that in this table. The next argument I'd like to make is regarding crossover heists. Now, just like what I did in my last video talking about Payday 3 characters and which ones will probably not come back, there's a similar argument to be had here with heists with regards to crossover events that happened through Payday 2 heists. Because a lot of them are tied to their own licensing deals, it does put up into question that immediately any crossover heists are likely to not return unless any kind of brand deals are renegotiated to allow them to come back. As a result, the following heists are under question as to whether or not I think they'll come back. We've got first off the Reservoir Dogs heist, obviously tying in with the Reservoir Dogs film, the Alesso heist, tying in with Alesso the DJ. It was an event for Payday 2 and is limited to Payday 2 as far as we can tell. Both of Jimmy's heists, Boiling Point and Murky Station, they might not mention Hardcore Henry a lot in the actual content of the heist, but they were still done as crossovers with the Hardcore Henry film. It was a crossover with the Point Break film that allowed the creation of Beneath the Mountain and Birth of Sky, neither of which really referenced Point Break, but they were branded as the Point Break heists, so that also puts them into question. In a surprise to absolutely nobody, I would imagine, Scarface Mansion, also crossover, probably not going to come back. And with the Continental, the same argument that I made in my characters video, you know, John Wick is the more likely crossover to happen in Payday 3 because there's been several John Wick crossovers in Payday 2. Overkill have good relations with Lionsgate, and so I think it's feasible we could get some kind of John Wick content. But if we do, I'd wager it'd probably be new stuff, and so I think Brooklyn 1010 and the Yacht Heist also, both fairly unlikely, so I just cross out the Continental completely in this little table. And so right off the bat, I'm going to mark those heists as definitely not coming back just for the sake of this argument. Obviously, things may be inaccurate here, but I'm going to go off my own instinct and my gut. So let's fix those on the table in 3, 2, 1. And there we go. All of those heists have been removed from the list. Now, I'm not counting Go Bank and No Mercy because those were slight crossovers with Valve and Left 4 Dead, but not really in the same sense. I wouldn't really put them in with John Wick and Scarface and those kind of things. I don't really fit them into this argument. But the next group of heists I want to eliminate from this picking are the heists that are heavily story-oriented. That means any heists really ideally in the last year or two of Payday 2's main life cycle I just don't think are really feasible to put in Payday 3 because of how heavily they tied to story events. I just don't really see a lot of them coming back. It's possible it could be reworked and, you know, made to fit without the lore connections, but I think personally it's better to just go for the heists that don't really have those heavy lore ties and you can just throw them back in with ease. As a result, I'm going to remove the following heists from the list now: the Alaskan Deal heist, Breaking Feds, Brooklyn Bank, Hell's Island, Henry's Rock, Shacklethorne Auction, and the White House. Some of Locke's better heists, and it really doesn't look good for Locke that so many of these are getting removed, but for me personally, they all play such integral parts in the real ramping up of Payday 2's story. They all had integral parts of things you need to solve, the big Easter egg at the end of Payday 2 to get the secret ending. Unless they adapt them, which of course is possible, and remove the connections to the lore, they're just not going to come back. I just don't personally see that happening. And that's a shame because there are some good heists in here. I'm a huge fan of Brooklyn Bank, as a lot of you know. The White House is a fantastic heist, and Shacklethorne Auction's also quite strong. But I don't want heists like that overshadowing Payday 3 in the same sense that, you know, whatever Payday 3 launches with, if you've got the White House with it, then it's kind of like, oh, just play the White House. I don't really care about this other bank heist you've introduced. So I think it's a good idea to remove the heists I've listed. So let's get rid of those now. And there we go. The next of our batch removals, I believe personally, are all of the Silk Road onwards DLC updates that have happened for Payday 2. As we all know, Payday 2 only really came back into full development to make money to fund Payday 3. Of course, now Payday 3 is fully funded, Overkill could, if they wanted to, just stop making Payday 2 DLC, as far as I know. However, I think now they're just carrying on because they want people involved in the Payday community. It also doesn't hurt to make more money for Payday 3 just because they're fully funded. They don't have to stop making money. I mean, it just makes sense to keep going. But I think really just keeping people involved in the community and keeping things going for Payday while Payday 3 approaches its release date just makes sense. But as far as Payday 2's main vision is concerned, if things had gone well at Starbreeze, if Overkill's The Walking Dead hadn't collapsed the way it did, Payday 2's final update would have been the White House. None of these heists that have been released since are part of the main Payday 2 vision. They're being made to add on to Payday 2 to give you a new experience, but weren't really part of the vision to begin with. And so I personally see absolutely no reason whatsoever that the Dragon Heist, Border Crossing, Border Crystals, Breakfast in Tijuana, Bullock's Mansion, or the San Martin Bank Heist will come back in any capacity in Payday 3. I just don't see it personally. So once again, let's get rid of those now. And there we go, those heists have been removed. And Locke, Ian, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize I was going to get rid of all your heists, but I don't think any of Locke's heists are going to come back in Payday 3. For the record, just because Locke's heists I don't believe will come back in the next game does not mean I don't think Locke will. I am almost completely confident Locke will have a role in Payday 3. It just makes sense and would genuinely surprise me if he doesn't come back. But yeah, so Locke is now the biggest player to be removed off the board in this table, which is, ooh, yikes. I've got 3 more specific areas I want to target, and they're all fairly simple ones. Next up, the Halloween heist. I don't believe any of those are going to come back. Some are definitely better than others. I will completely agree with you on that. Cursed Kill Room is actually a solid heist when you compare it to some of the other heists in Payday 2. However, I just personally believe that if Payday 3 is going to have its own Halloween events, which, let's be fair, it probably will, I can't see them recycling Payday 2 ones. I think they'll just make their own Payday 3 Halloween events and not have to recycle old assets. So for me, the events one is going completely as well. But that's not all. I think at the same time, it's fair to assume the same thing with Christmas heists. As far as actual Christmas event heists are concerned, I don't see any of those coming back either. Meaning that it's time to say goodbye to Go Bank, Santa's Workshop, Stealing Christmas, and White Christmas. And there we go, event and Christmas heists removed as well from the list. We're really starting to thin these down now. I'm trying my best here to remove all the ones that I think are definitely not going to happen or very unlikely to happen so that we can really spend some time discussing the ones I think are more likely. And what I'm going to do now is focus on the heists that I think are not as well loved or really replayed as much as other heists. The ones I feel that don't get as much love or aren't replayed as much, I'm going to get rid of next in this list. For that reason, I'm going to remove all 5 of the transport heists, that's excluding the train heist, alongside the Bomb Forest, as well as Aftershock, Goat Simulator, obviously, and Meltdown. Aftershock and Meltdown, you could debate a bit more, but I don't really see a lot of people raving about those heists. I personally find them quite low on my list of heists I really like, so I'm going to go off my gut there and remove those 2 alongside the 2 probably most hated heists in the game that are left here, which are the Bomb Forest and, of course, Goat Simulator. And there we have it, even more heists removed. Now we're really starting to focus down to things where I'm starting to get a little bit more torn as to which ones will come back. So for my next port of call, what I'm going to do here is apply the logic from my last video talking about characters, and now apply that to this list here. So which contractors do I think are not going to return? And looking at those more specifically, let's talk about the jobs that they had themselves. I'm going to dodge Bane for the second because that's what I want to get to in a minute. I feel like they won't apply as much for him, but I'm going to look at Hector, the Butcher, and the Dentist here. As we all know, the Butcher will not be coming back, sadly, as Mira Furlan passed away. There won't be a Butcher in Payday 3. I don't really think as a result they'll revisit a lot of their heists. I feel like they might just leave those isolated in Payday 2. So whether you like or dislike the Bomb Dockyard, I don't see that coming back. Hector, I'm really not sure. Firestarter is a very good heist. Rats, I feel like you don't need because you've got Cook-Off. Cook-Off really is the best part of Rats in my opinion. Watch Dogs is gone. I really do think so. And so really for Firestarter, it's a tough one, but I think just to whittle down the heist a bit more, I think I would get rid of Firestarter in terms of which one I think would come back to Payday 3. I just don't know whether I'd see Firestarter doing that. But as for the Dentist, it is really damn difficult because there are a lot of heists here that just are really hard to pick between. I'm going to be really harsh here. I'm also going to apply the logic that I said Jacket probably won't be back in Payday 3 immediately. He might come back as a crossover later because Overkill and the developers of Hotline Miami have good relations too. Also not accounting for how many Jacket stands there are out there. But for the argument right now, I'm going to remove Hotline Miami as well as Hoxton Revenge and the Diamond, which is a tough decision to make. Don't think I take that lightly, but I just don't think we can leave a whole set of contractors' jobs in here as well. And so here is our updated table. There's one type of contract on here that I've completely avoided until this point because I really don't know how to handle it, and that is the classics. What you have to remember here is that every single heist in that section already has been brought over from Payday the Heist into Payday 2. It's been remastered once before. So the question arises of, will they really remaster these heists for a second time? The argument I want to make here is no. However, there is one heist in particular that I just can't see them not porting over if they're going to put a classic over, and I think you all know where I'm going with this. The First World Bank is one of the most iconic locations in the Payday lore. It is the setting of the first 2 episodes of the Payday web series. It has the Overdrill Easter egg, which was present in both Payday the Heist and Payday 2, and it is one of the best maps in Payday 2. It's a very, very strong map, and I would personally like to see that return as a staple, a classic Payday map that has stood the test of time and is the only heist to have been featured in all 3 iterations of the Payday franchise. While there are good classic heists here that I'm going to be removing, I think personally out of all of them, I would ditch all the classic heists and just leave in the First World Bank. So let's do that right now. We're almost down to the final few, and so I want to remove the last few heists that I doubt will return in Payday 3. First off, let's look at our gallery and link it to the elephants. Now, of all the elephants jobs, the job I would most like to see return, and not just for the sake of keeping the elephant in here, but also because I really like the heist, and it is an original Payday 2 heist that is still a very strong one, is Framing Frame. I want to see that heist stay in Payday 3 if at all possible. Maybe touch it up in a few areas to make it run a bit better and work better with new stealth mechanics, etc. But out of those 4 elephant heists, I'd really like to see just Framing Frame come back. Because of that, we don't need art gallery. I would happily just have the art gallery be limited just to Framing Frame once again and get rid of art gallery altogether from the job list. So as a result, I'm getting rid of the 3 elephant jobs that aren't Framing Frame as well as art gallery. Next up, I'm also going to remove Car Shop because it is a good heist but not one of the best ones in the game, I don't personally believe, as well as Diamond Store because I want to keep Jewelry Store in here. I'd wager that's a more iconic Payday heist because it was there from the start, and it also saw the remaster treatment once before in Raid World War II, so who's not to say it could come back again in Payday 3. And finally, as for Vlad, I really don't want to do this to him because I love Vlad, but I don't think 4 Stores, Mall Crasher, or even Nightclub will come back. They're very old and antiquated Payday 2 jobs that are quite simple and aren't really some of the best in the game. Nightclub is definitely the strongest of the 3, and maybe you can make an argument towards that one, but I'm not sure about them. As much as I want to see Vlad come back in Payday 3, again, talked about that in the last video, I don't think any of his jobs will. Somehow I missed out Ukrainian job in that argument. I would wager that out of that and Jewelry Store is the base one, the more simple one that isn't really tied to a contractor. Probably more likely to come back out of the 2. So let's make those final removals now. And so here we are with some of the final heists I believe might come back in Payday 3. Now, I'm not completely happy with all my decisions just yet. There's still a tiny bit more I'd like to do. First off, with Cook-Off. The reason I kept that one in so long is because I chose it over Rats. Unlike the argument with Art Gallery and Framing Frame, I felt that Framing Frame was more important than just playing the Art Gallery day. With Rats, Day 2 and Day 3 are quick, simple, and don't really have the same impact or interest to me as Day 1 did. Cooking meth in that house was much more fun to me. But in terms of a mechanic for cooking meth, if they bring anything like that back in Payday 3, I kind of want to see them reinvent it and do it differently. So while Cook-Off is a fun, simple heist, it's a good kind of switch your brain off and just do some ingredients for a bit, make some money and XP kind of job. I just don't know whether I want to see it back in Payday 3, so I'm also going to remove Cook-Off from this table. But now we come to the point where I really just don't know. So let me talk you through my logic for each of these heists and then make my final decision as to whether I'm keeping any. The basic core bank heist is a heist that everyone knows and loves. It's simple, it's effective. It was there in the demo, it was there in the beta, it's made it right the way through. It's a beautifully simple heist that is fantastic, and I want to see it back in Payday 3. I hope they double down on the bank jobs. As a lot of you know, I am a sucker for bank jobs. I love them in any kind of heisting game. It just really hooks me for some reason. But there's something you just can't beat about the quintessential bank heist, and I don't want to see that left behind in Payday 2. I want that back in the 3rd game. Jewelry Store, I've already mentioned a little bit. Iconic heist. It's been remastered once, could come back again. Same logic applies. Shadow Raid is the pinnacle of stealth in Payday 2. It is the best example of when Payday 2 stealth works absolutely beautifully. The size of the map, the amount of loot, the variance of it, the RNG, the way the whole thing works, I really could struggle to find fault with this heist, and I want it back in Payday 3. The train heist is an interesting concept that I felt didn't work as well as it possibly could have done, but as a concept, having some kind of great train robbery is something you really want as a heisting group. So with the train heist, I'm less sure, but I've left it open because I want to see some kind of train heist in Payday 3 if at all possible. Up the ante, try and combine this with Day 2 of Biker and have a heist like Train Heist, but on a moving train. Take hostages that are on passenger cars. Do something really inventive with it. First World Bank, you've heard my arguments on that. It's an iconic heist. I want that back. The Golden Ring Casino, I'm not sure if that's everybody's favorite heist, but to me, it is one of the best examples of Payday 2 design. The amount of loot in it is fantastic. The variant of pre-planning in it is amazing. It's one of the best examples of when all the different parts of Payday 2 combine to create something truly unique that varies a lot between playthroughs. And to top it off, is visually gorgeous. gorgeous. So I really want to see that back. I'm not 100% confident with that one, but I really want to see it back. Hoxton Breakout is an iconic heist, and it does kind of break my arguments about having lore-heavy heists come back in Payday 3, but you could ignore that you're just breaking out Hox, or it could be a bit of a flashback. Oh, do you remember that time we rescued Hoxton kind of thing? Because that heist is iconic, and people adore it, and it was one of the first heists they added to the game as DLC, free or paid, where players went, we want more of this. Give us a lot of this. This is good. The Big Bank. Do I need to explain? I don't think I do. It's one of the best design jobs in Payday 2. It takes everything I love about the basic bank heist and makes it so much better. It needs to be in Payday 3, simple as. You could easily remove the ties to the dentist and say you're actually going to hit the benevolent bank again, say we've done it before, let's do it again. Kind of like what they did with Art Gallery when they said we're not doing it for the elephant, this time it's just for us. You could do that again with the big bank. And finally, Framing Frame, I've made my arguments on that. I think it is a very good elephant heist. Not completely confident about its return, but would really like to see it come back if at all possible. So as a result, here are my final verdicts. Bank heist, jewelry store, shadow raid, First World Bank, Hoxton Breakout, The Big Bank, all getting green ticks next to them. I see them coming back either exactly the same or with slight alterations made. But the other couple I'm going to leave as doubts because I want to see them come back. I'm not sure how high on the agenda they are, or if I'd want to see them exactly the same again, whether I'd like to see some changes made, but the concepts are too good to lose in my personal opinion. As a result, I'm changing the safe house raid from a green tick to a question mark as well, because like I said at the start of the video, there'll be some kind of safe house raid, no doubt, just based in whatever new safe house we have in Payday 3. And so here we are with my final table. Now, I need to stress right now, because I know people are probably not going to be happy with what I've picked. I'm not even completely sure I'm happy with what I've left here. And as I've said, there have been loads of arguments I've made throughout this video for things that could well come back that I've just removed for the sake of getting to the end of this video. Because if I started throwing up doubts about everything, I'd never have got this video done. Let's be completely fair. But the main point of this video, beyond what I think might come back, is knowing what you all think in the comment section below. So if you've stuck to the end of this video, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a comment down below to let me know your list of heists that you would like to see come back in Payday 3. There's no right or wrong answers. I don't care what anyone else says to you. You could pick the Bomb Forest and it wouldn't be wrong. It'd be your opinion. Whatever ones you want to see come back, let me know down below. I'd be very interested to know what you guys think. But that brings an end to this video. So thank you all very, very much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. It'd be greatly appreciated. Show me you liked this content and would like to see more. And if you happen to be new, well, feel free to hit that subscribe button too. It's quick, it's free, and I will always love you for doing so, and you'll never miss out on any future content on this channel for Payday 2, Payday 3, or anything else beyond that. As always, all the socials are linked in the description down below. My Twitch page, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Discord server. Links to support me as a channel member or a patron. Thank you to everyone doing that as well. But with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next week with a brand new video. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon.